go. You have to get your arm amputated. Welcome to episode 157. This episode is going to be pretty lit. Tons of stuff going down. New update dropped. PogChamps.
Yeah,
what's
that about, huh?
I can tell you what it is. It's patch notes for patch 1.40.
Nice. It sounds big, but it's actually not huge.
How do they decide? How do they decide when to move the number along?
What do you mean?
What?
Well, like,
what do you mean?
Well, because they go 1.38, 1.39.
Yeah.
Then like,
then 1.40.
Why not do like, no, but it doesn't work like that. Because look, the patch note was the previous patch was 1.38.0.3.60547. Then it's 1.39.1.0. Then it's 1.39.2. And then they go from 1.39.2 to 1.4. So there must be something very significant in here that we're missing.
I can answer this.
Go on then.
So generally, bug fixes, you will get minor increases in the number, tiny stuff. Whereas actual gameplay changes will adjust the primary number.
Ooh,
well, not the primary number, the first decimal place.
I feel like you know way too much about this for this to be believable.
And the actual primary number, or the primary integer, will get shifted when it is a massive overhaul.
The primary integer. Look at this guy. He's so ready to.
He's so ready to spell that for me, please.
Primary integer. What is this? The spelling bee? We don't even have those in Gloucester.
Dude, Bren went from trying to say Jamaican phrases to saying the word integer in a year.
Yeah, bro.
3 years.
Wow,
but,
it's hard coded into me from when I used to study computer science. But so it basically will be like major gameplay updates. It's why the WoW patch, every expansion changes the first number in the patch, right? So
I knew that.
All right. Well, now that Josh asked a dumbass question, Bren gave a phenomenal answer. We can move on. Bastion with the self repair. So, full healing consumes 0 resources. If you're using your heal while you're Bastion, you're full health. You're just an idiot.
Makes sense.
So now you don't get penalized for being. That's fantastic. And then the self repair canceled with the weapon fire, so they add a little bit of a delay to that. So you can't just go from healing to just like pumping people like. It's a 0.25 second delay. So
okay,
cool.
Not a massive change for Bastion. Yeah,
I mean Bastion's not in a bad position. The reason that he's getting played a lot, I think, is just because there's a lot of shields in the game, and also the meta heroes aren't that good at dealing with Bastion. So
somebody in my chat asked me today what I would do to change Widowmaker, and I was just like, you can do whatever you want with Widowmaker. Like, it's not happening. Like, just come back in half a year, bro. Like, it's not happening, dude.
Let her hit headshots through shields.
Yeah,
only
headshots through shields.
Give her a shield-piercing gun, a Barrett. Give her a Barrett 50 cal. Goes through shields. Yes.
Can you imagine how terrible playing Reinhardt would be?
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine why would any poor soul play Reinhardt just standing there, just getting fucking pumped?
Well, maybe it wouldn't affect tanks.
Oh, yeah.
Shields, but not tanks.
Yeah,
it would affect the minor targets, so that it would change the way the game would have to be played.
What is this, Borderlands?
That was dumb.
I'm down for it.
Sombra. So her hack gets changed that now Sigma Shield can... Sigma's shield is canceled when he's hacked.
Okay, let me cover the Sigma stuff because there's a lot here. All right.
Okay. Do we not want to talk about the Sombra stuff?
You're reading it off the GIF. We're gonna go down a list that I've got compiled. I had my people working on this day in, day out.
Okay.
So can you take a back seat, huh?
I'm not even going off of a GIF. I'm going off of like a sheet, but okay.
Yeah.
We're probably going off of the same sheet.
First of all, hyperspheres. The primary fire damage reduced by about 5. A necessary change.
That's pretty about big, 5 would be exactly.
I played Sigma today. It does not make a big change. A lot of people are just playing the same heroes. Very fun game.
Oh, they added a toggle option for the
necessary
shield.
A necessary change, might I add. It just means. I mean, he's quite an oppressive tank.
He needed a damage nerf. So I think it's fine.
But on the other probably hand, would have been a bit more damage. You could have nerfed.
Yeah, but they're gonna tweak him slowly. I was talking to Jeff recently, actually, when he was at the Owl semifinals. I said, "Oh, how's Sigma?" It's nothing big, so I'm sure he wouldn't mind. I was like, "Oh, how's Sigma been?" And he was like, we got some tuning down in the works, which is this kind of stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So they know that Sigma's. I think he's a really cool hero though. He's so fun to play, and he's like.
Yeah, I'd rather have him be good than have him be potato.
The toggle option for deploying Sigma's barrier. Again, it's just a quality of life thing. We don't need to talk about that. The big one though that Matt was about to hit before I jumped in is Sombra.
Wow,
Sombra
we got there.
him.
We got there.
Is
You didn't even go through the rest of the Sigma changes.
Well, because they come after.
Why did we go from Sombra changes to 3 Sigma changes? Now
they come after. So this is just once again trying to one of the things that they're trying to introduce. I guess Sombra is more of a counter right to the barriers. This is their initial idea. Is that you use Sombra to try and counter a lot of barrier compositions, try and remove them.
For sure.
It's another way to do it.
You can only hack one person at a time. Everybody's got a fucking shield.
Here's a buff. Here's the buff, though. The accretion explosion damage increased by 10 from 50 to 60.
I don't know why they did that.
They like to.
That ability was already strong.
The numbers, like both ways.
It's
fine. So strong.
Yeah,
already,
I like the idea though that you reduce the reliable primary fire damage and you increase the damage of the skill shot.
The motherfucker's already getting gold damage in every game. He doesn't need a buff.
Maybe reduce the primary a bit more.
And leave his rock where it is. It's already one of the most powerful stuns in the game. You got motherfuckers yeeting it from Narnia and it randomly hits someone. You're like, oh, I'm stunned for 3 seconds.
As a Sigma, it feels way more rewarding to hit a Doomfist now because I'm like, I can actually kill the Lucio or the Doomfist that I'm hitting. But
yeah, but people in chat are like, oh, it's to keep the combo damage. Like, why does he need to be able to eliminate 200 HP targets immediately? The guy's a tank.
Right,
no, but that's about the primary fire damage, though.
You know what's broken as fuck is when the other team sees a Pharah on the other side and they continue to play Reaper Doom because they just halt and then accrete him out of the air. And it's so easy to do, and it's like you see it like all the time, just knocking these Pharahs out of the sky. Yeah. It's a big ass boulder throwing at it.
Halt accretion, right? It's
yeah.
I don't complain about it though. It's fun to watch.
Well, it is. Yeah.
Listen, unfortunately, the real crux of it is that this game is balanced around the most common denominator of player. Bless you.
The Sideshow.
Which is Sideshow. It is Josh's rank. The gold, the plat.
He is the everyday player.
A lot of people don't realize this, but on the cusp of gold to plat, the last time I think I checked the percentile ranks, that is actually higher than the average rank. The average rank is gold.
That should be your new name, Josh Everyday Wilkinson.
Yep, that's me. Yeah, that's me, Everyman. The analyst for the Everyman.
The second one, or the final change that they made to Sigma, is the gravitic flux. So the cast time has been increased by about 33% now.
That's pretty huge.
Which is 0.4 seconds to 0.6.
Right. So when you hear those numbers, you think, it's 0.2 seconds, not that big. But when I say 33.3 recurring, of course, percentage chance or percentage increase in time.
Of course.
Thank you, Ahmad.
Of course.
Yeah, of course
you start to think, actually, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
It is a big deal. It's a big cast time increase. But the thing is, I don't know if it will affect pro play that much because.
Why don't you run us through the Sim and Zarya changes?
I had a great time in rank today. It was fantastic.
All you need to know with both of those heroes is a couple of patches ago they released a bug fix that made it so that the beams would be more consistent on a singular target when they're moving on and off of it really fast, which was actually a DPS increase by quite a significant amount. I think the number that was quoted to me by the devs was like around 20-25% damage DPS increase across like pretty much most ranks in terms of tracking targets. So they were paying attention to it closely, seeing if they needed to nerf Symmetra and Zarya as the only characters that really have these beams. And they've just nerfed them appropriately so that they're back to the levels before they fix the bug.
Yeah. But also, interestingly, what they've done is nerfed beam width, which means that it's harder to aim because the beams themselves aren't as chunky. Now, the thing is, Zarya, I don't know how wide that was normally because they haven't given any reference numbers.
We quake now.
They do. So it goes from 0.20 meters to 0.15 at max. It only changes the max for Zarya.
Oh, right. Okay. It doesn't because
is it always 0.15 now?
Yeah, I think it says it's always 0.15.
Oh, okay. Because I'm reading it and I see it's going from it ranges anywhere from 0.10 to 0.20. And I took now the endpoint is 0.15 instead of 0.20.
It says on blizztrack.com, which Lord knows if that's a reliable source. It says beam width is now 0.15 meters and no longer scales with energy.
Okay, so maybe Okay,
so I don't think it actually gets bigger or smaller.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm gonna miss that big ass Zarya beam, because that, like, when you had 100% charge as Zarya, you felt like a raid boss, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
it was sick.
I'm all for increasing the skill cap though of heroes.
Yeah, of course, but it just felt
the
awesome.
Skill ceiling.
Yeah,
I'm all for it feeling awesome.
Bren reading patch notes would be a 3-hour episode.
I can make it a 3-hour episode. Easy.
Plenty of time.
What do we think about the homie Bastion getting some brick themed costumes?
It looks so good.
Except, I actually haven't seen it.
Like, we aren't sponsored or anything. It's a Lego costume. They're just saying brick because they can't use the word Lego for some reason. But
no, it is a Lego one. They actually use Lego in it.
Oh well, why do they call it Lego Bastion? Why do they call it brick Bastion?
In the video, it says it's Lego Overwatch, but they call it Bastion Brick Challenge.
That
is really called
That looks sick.
I guess just not to give more.
Are we some of the participating streamers?
No.
Oh no. Oh, that's weird.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to call up Jeff.
Oh, it's all right. They are not really interested in working with streamers that only get around 20 viewers, so I don't think they would have got in touch with you anyway.
Any truers?
But no, the skin's actually one of the cooler ones I think they made.
Really?
Yeah, look, I think it's sick.
I don't know if I buy it.
What? Why not?
Oh,
it's Lego, dude. Everyone loves Lego.
It's
Mr. Devil's Advocate pipes up again.
It's too blocky.
Yeah,
it's made of bricks.
Yes,
that's
exactly. And that's why I don't like it. It's like Minecraft, bro.
Yeah, what's wrong with Minecraft?
I'm just saying, I don't. It's too square, okay? It's too square.
Bastion is made of cuboids. What do you mean is too square?
Dude, Johnny's a boomer.
I'm just saying. I stepped on too many Legos in my life. I'm over it.
Would you want him to be smooth? If they made a Lego character, how could they not make it out of blocks?
This Johnny fucking, Johnny played with Mega Blocks as a kid. He was one of those Mega Blocks kids.
Johnny thinks it's
Johnny didn't get given Legos as a kid. He got given Mega Blocks. He likes the rounded off pieces.
There were some round Lego pieces. Okay, it doesn't have to be square. There are some. They updated it. They made Lego 2.0, and there are some like round shapes and stuff. Like
there are people calling you to be. There are people calling you to be muted.
We've actually had some Papega takes on this podcast before. Majority coming from me. But that just takes the cake.
Really?
Bastion is too blocky.
Is this what is close to your heart?
Bro,
I think so, yes.
I think
blocky.
This skin is as close to it gets as a non-argument that this skin is dope.
Yeah.
Like, it's as close to a non-argument of a skin you can get.
Really?
Yes. Think about all the skins they put in for the other challenges. Like, this one is by far the coolest one.
Yeah, that's true. But
like, all you have to do is win 9 games to get this.
Okay,
so,
it's sort of cool, but I am going to tilt when I see some Lego Bastion on that payload just holding mouse 1. Okay, I just dab. Nice dab, Sideshow.
Josh is freaking out.
What is happening? Is he okay?
He's got a sneezing fit.
Dude's face is being assaulted. Yeah, no, I mean the skin is cool. Chat, just disregard the reinforcement.
Sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit, and I've just been attacked for Johnny's bullshit.
Okay, chill out. Okay, calm down. Okay, you can have different opinions. I'm just.
I'll be honest with you. You're entitled to your opinion, but you're wrong.
Okay, well, according to me, I'm right. So
what are some other skins that would be just like undeniably phenomenal? Like, I can't really think of anything more childhood iconic than Lego.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, whenever I see that skin, it will tilt me.
Like if there was a Disney Frozen crossover with May, where you could play as Princess Elsa, that would be the next closest thing that I could come to where it would be just like instant. It banged.
So fitting, yeah. I'd love a Genji Mulan skin, like a gender bent Mulan skin, right?
Genji Mulan.
Oh, we're just saying.
I would be about that, man. Can you imagine like a Genji Mulan, and it's like a new female voice actor, but it's like, oh man, that would be dope.
What if What if they did a Nerf weapon 76?
See, that would be cool.
Like,
that would be cool.
Somebody in the chat
Yeah,
mentioned.
I know Genji is Japanese.
What if they made Winston like the Beast from the Disney movies? That'd be cool.
If they made who? Winston the... Whoa! What in the hell are we doing here? You're now recommending a gorilla becomes a Minotaur for fuck knows what reason. A Japanese cyborg becomes a Chinese Disney princess.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's like the most fitting in my mind in terms of... she's the closest to like a samurai-like character, right?
I don't think so, no.
She uses a sword in the film.
So does bloody...
But like she's...
William Wallace.
But that doesn't make sense.
In what way does Mulan,
I'll be honest with you,
being a Japanese cyborg ninja, make sense?
Because they did a young Genji skin where he's not.
Dude,
what
if there was an Aladdin skin, dude, where it was like a Genji Aladdin skin? And
why Genji though? You're just saying Genji because he has a sword.
Yeah.
Yes, essentially, yeah. Bren's just thinking which characters have swords.
That's kind of what I was thinking of as well. Yeah, I mean,
a Woody McCree. That might be dope.
Yeah. See, and you guys are sitting here. Oh, Lego Bastion is the best we can come up with. No, there's plenty of ideas. There's plenty of ideas out there. You can do way better skins.
Yeah, but it's still an incredible skin.
Yeah. It's a good.
It's
good.
We're talking about
good.
Like Donkey Kong Winston skins. That'll never happen.
I'm not gonna lie. I think Microsoft would walk across glass to try and get Lego tied into Minecraft. This is a huge deal.
It's massive.
It is, yeah. But Lego would never want to do a deal with Minecraft because Minecraft is just Lego, but
virtual Lego,
but unlimited.
But it's so fitting.
It's Lego if our universe had infinite.
Oh wait, no, Minecraft did a collab with Lego. What am I talking about?
Did they really?
Yeah, they did.
All right, let's talk about the playoffs.
No, let's talk more about skins. I like skins. Monetization.
I do.
Revenue.
You say you wanted to rank it in terms of all Bastion skins.
Oh yeah, let's rank it.
Well, Bastion doesn't have a lot of good skins.
Oh, I gotta boot up the game.
Johnny, where would you rank it, Johnny, in terms of Bastion skins?
I mean, Bastion doesn't have a lot of great skins. I mean, I like the OG, the classic, overgrown. I think that's
oh my god,
cool.
I've just seen the bird. The bird looks incredible in Lego.
Yep.
The steamboat. No, what is it? Is it
he has a stealth bomber one. That's a stretch. I've never looked at these skins before. The bird as a stealth bomber looks amazing.
Which one do I like? I need to get them out. I'm using the gift wrap right now. I like the ones that are pretty like just low key.
Oh, I'll just put this on.
Overgrown is pretty good. Brick is just unreal though.
It is. Brick is phenomenal.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, whoa.
I like Woodbot.
Yeah, I go from Woodbot to Dune Buggy. I like the Dune Buggy one.
You like Dune Buggy?
Yeah, I think Dune Buggy looks cool.
It looks like, you know, the old Windows 95 screensaver. That was
this is cool, though, right? That's why it's cool.
Yeah, that's why it's cool.
No.
It has a cool bird, I'll say that.
I kind of like the Guishin.
Yeah.
It's like, reminds me of like Pacific Rim.
Oh, this is so Bren.
No, that one's really bad.
I like it. It's like opinion. Pacific Rim, like... what's the bird's name?
I like the Avalanche. The Avalanche is cool. It has a snow owl.
Ganymede.
Yeah, Ganymede.
Oh, but dude, like I'm looking at a picture and like the little bullets that come out of Bastion are like little Legos, dude, on the Lego one. Like
you just can't beat this skin.
Yeah,
it's one of the greats they've added to the game.
It's actually impossible. I'm looking at tank mode. Look at the wheels on tank mode, dude.
Yeah, it is. It is like
Holy moly!
Like it's without question one of the coolest skins they've ever added.
Yep. Without question. Who else really competes? I can't think of anyone. You got a couple of Winston ones that are really cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. The Jonak skin has got to be one of my favorites of all time as well.
Yes, I agree.
I agree with that, dude. The Demon Hunter Sombra though, when that was released, I was like, man, I'm so glad I work for Blizzard so I get that BlizzCon skin. I think that's dope.
Demon Hunter Sombra.
Demon Hunter Sombra.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
That is good.
I'm looking at it right now. What's the name of it called?
Demon Hunter.
Oh, I don't even have it available to look at.
Yeah, they took it out. They
just straight up took it out. Like because it's so good.
No, I'm denied even the ability to look at it. Never mind buy it.
A dope skin.
There's probably some good Torbjorn skins around here as well.
I don't know, bro. It's tough to beat that. Bastion one.
Yep. That's an S tier skin in my opinion.
Oh, I love the Doomfist skin. The Doomfist.
One?
No, not the formal one. The Black Hand.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, Black Hand's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of skins though, did you guys see the Twitch clip where Sinatra is talking about his MVP skin?
Yeah, he said it's gonna be a Zarya one.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether he was allowed to say anything about it, but yeah, there you go.
But he did. Yeah, it's on my
You decided it's Zarya?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether he got to decide that, or whether the league thought that was like his.
The way he kind of said it, like it sounded like they had a cool idea for it, and like
yeah.
Subreddit was like, I hope they collaborate with Gucci. And it's just like,
would be so funny.
Make a wish. Make a wish.
No, it would be dope.
Imagine the Gucci slides on Zarya. I'd be down.
Could you imagine Zarya with like an alien head and like Gucci slides, dude? That would be.
There's no way he's gonna make his own skin have an alien head. That's the stupidest. He's just got away from that stupid meme. Like the people still spam that in the chat and shit. I don't think they do anymore, do they?
Oh, that's outdated. Outdated.
Bro,
it's a bit of an outdated meme.
Shock keeps leaning into it.
Yeah, well,
and the actual org itself keeps leaning into that.
But that was earlier in the season. I don't know. I feel at this point, like the guy's just so good that he's outgrown the meme.
Well, you could say he's out of this world.
Okay.
You shouldn't, but you could.
Well, what are we talking about?
I don't want to talk about anything after
we got
that.
some playoffs?
Yeah, we got the playoffs. Thursday didn't exist. 2 teams got 4-0'd.
Thursday didn't exist.
It was basically 45 minutes. I mean, what? Atlanta, they get owned by Hangzhou. Hangzhou looked really good against Atlanta.
So I guess something I want to say.
Well, Atlanta looked pretty poor as well.
Both Atlanta and Gladiators had 2 things in common with that match. One, they're doo-doo. They look doo-doo. But I think a big part of the reason is because I think in their heads they had already lost the game. They played very differently to what they had done previously. Gladiators, they had a distinctive style where they like to play around their main tanks. They played aggressively. They created a load of space for Surefour. It showed some success. Against the Shock, they tried to mirror the way Shock played, which was
I think
relying on the Doomfist to pop off a lot of the time.
But they put the K in on Doom and he didn't do anything.
Yeah, and they changed up a lot of the ways they played and the way they wanted to play. Now, I don't know if it was they were trying to go for some big brain play by changing up their play style so that they could try and throw Shock off in terms of how Shock were preparing for them. But you're just not going to win against a mirror, against one of the best neutral game teams in the league since the entirety of the season, up there with the Titans.
I think it kind of, we talked about it a little bit on last week, but I kind of had a fear they were going to do this going into this matchup because they win their first round matchup and Hydration like switches back and forth constantly between like Doom and then Sigma. They beat Hangzhou, and then they play the Titans, and Hydration played Doom the whole time. They lose, but I actually thought they looked really good with him on the Doom in that series against the Titans. But I think what they did is they were like, "Oh, we beat Hangzhou doing this with him on Sigma, and then we lost the next game with him on Doom."
No, I don't think it's like that at all. No, I just think
what do you think it's like?
No, I think it's 2 different play styles. And I mean, I VOD reviewed the first match they had, and I think they just had different play styles. Like when Hydration was on the Doomfist, it seemed to me like they were playing a lot more aggressive. And then when Hydration was on the Sigma, they played more passive.
When you're seeing teams that are playing aggressive, just rolling through people, why would you opt to play passive?
Well, it depends on the match itself and how it played out. I'm just saying, I think it's more of like an adaptation mid-series more than it's them just like, well, let's change it up forehead because we lost. I think they actually have legit reasons as to why they would stop.
Either way, they got utterly shit stomped. I think it was a poor decision to make that swap as well. I think they had a much better chance playing their own game rather than
they played Hydration. They played Hydration on Doom for like I think the final map, and they played like a Farah Bastion instead of. They also played some Doom stuff. And that was the only map that they looked kind of competitive.
Oh yeah, they looked boom by the way. They did look
but everything else was just a joke. I feel like Atlanta. Once Atlanta lost their match, they're a team that just goes on confidence where they were going to be.
It was
they were going to
straight
get
up,
yeah,
straight up in the interview with Baby Bay at the end, where they were like they got knocked into the lower bracket. Baby Bay said like, "Oh, we're just all happy that we got this far."
You're done.
I was like, that sentence alone tells me that I think they thought they won the second they beat Shock.
Yeah,
because it was probably a match they were going into expecting to lose and expecting to be able to have to fight all the way. Which I mean, again, you knock out one of the favorites, and they're like, "Oh my god!" Like, it's such an incredible moment for them. But this is why I think the mentality of both these teams coming in looked like they were just checked out almost. Like, they weren't playing like they were, but for different reasons. Atlanta Reign, I think, had thought that they had already won. The Gladiators, I think, got in their own heads about playing against the favorites. Everyone still had Shock as one of the favorites to go to the finals.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, which I feel like we mentioned a lot of this last week.
Yeah, just to add on, I mean, it's just as well like I think this is a side effect of the team itself having no real strong, authoritative in-game leaders on the Gladiators. I think a lot of their leadership came from Deepay, who's now either left the team or
exploring other options. I think.
Yeah, I don't think he's actually left. I think he's just looking for other
teams. And he's always been. I mean, I don't really
inspire confidence when your coach is looking for other teams. So I mean,
yeah. I mean,
wow, come on, dude.
Don't exactly see eye to eye, shoulder to shoulder with some of his decisions, but he does act as sort of like a pillar of that team. I remember the amount of times I've walked past his team in a corridor and he's like shouting at the players with great authority as this benevolent being.
I think he's a good coach.
Yeah, I think he's got a good mind on him. Yeah,
I don't know why the Glads would want to move on.
I will say he had a tough job on him, as well. I think it was probably a bit harder to be coach for that team when you have Roar and Decay coming in and like barely speaks English at the time, and you're like trying to integrate them and trying to get them on the same wavelength. It's like that's pretty rough, dude. Like honestly, and then you don't have a leader to like help you out. Like I think coaching Gladiators.
But that's his decision,
right? I mean, his decision was
well. You can't say, "Oh, you had a really tough job this year." If he made the job for himself tough, I mean,
do you know that 100% that he single-handedly brought in the players?
Why would the head coach?
I mean, have you heard about Boston Uprising?
Right, but Boston is a totally different team to every other team in the league.
Yeah, like, but you're still assuming. I'm just saying. I think it was a tough spot, and I think either he acquired the players and underestimated how much of a challenge it was. I'm still trying to give him some credit here because I do think that even if we brought them in, it was a tough job.
You wouldn't spend that much money on Decay if you didn't talk to the head coach.
No, but
him in. Like,
why can't you come halfway at least and be like, yeah, it's tough.
But it's not. If you want to pay that much money, you must have a plan to integrate them properly. You can't just at the end of the season fail and be like,
I don't think.
Well, it was a really hard year. Like, okay, you had the decision at the beginning of this year to make it a harder and easy year, or to set your sights.
I doubt he single-handedly just like, hell yeah, this is exactly the team I want. I think maybe for Decay, but I don't think Roar at the time was good, but Roar at the time was not like, oh, he's gonna be a superstar main tank. And I think he was a bit of a Winston player in Contenders, and then it was brought up, and I don't think his Orisa or Reinhardt was particularly good in Goats, and I think that was not.
But unless there was unless there was some kind of weird fuckery going on, or there was a lack of main tanks available, or they got shafted at the last minute, or whatever, which they didn't do because that was at the end of the season. They knew what was going on coming into 2019, then it's on David and the rest of the staff to mitigate that and to find a player that works well for them. I don't think you can say they got Raw and therefore it made it really hard. Like the premise is you pick up the main tank to make your season go well.
I think they messed up the team chemistry with that team. And if Deepay is to be blamed for that, I still think that it was a pretty rough team to coach compared to some others in the league.
And I think they knew that Roar was coming in for a while, because I remember when me and Avast did the Christmas stream there, we had asked them about Roar, and they were super excited to bring him on. Like, it's not like they were kind of like blindsided.
Yeah, they thought he was going to be really good. They chose to run him over Panka. Yeah, they had 2 main tanks coming into this season.
And I mean,
I think David's done a lot of great stuff this season, and I think that actually he's one of the coaches that can properly lay the law down for teams. But I don't really get what you're saying.
And you have to cut him slack for
picking up a player that he picked up.
I'm not cutting slack for picking him up. I'm saying, I guess I am sort of saying that because I think that if he decided to pick up those players, and I think it was a poor decision because I think the team dynamic.
Right, but you're saying he did the best with what he. If he'd made a poor decision at the beginning, he still did the best with what he had.
And at the end of the day, he did a lot with what he had to work with.
And looking at the way the Gladiators are structured, it looks like they just have a manager, assistant manager, and then him. So I assume he is the one making the decisions on the roster, not the manager.
They don't have a GM.
At least on the organizational list I'm looking at, no. They have like a head of esports, president, CEO, co-owner.
But one of those is probably the GM. They have to discuss stuff with people above them, I'm sure.
Yeah, but that's probably just more on like
expert.
on money and stuff, and who like. But VPay is probably the one who's telling them we need to go after these people, and this is how much they're worth. It's not.
I would
really
imagine,
like,
yeah.
Also, back then in the signing period, like the way people were hyping up Decay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Hindsight.
This is what leads me into my opinion that you just shouldn't put so many resources and money into individual players. Overwatch is so much more of a team game. I think a lot of people come from backgrounds of different games, so you can have these singular hard carry roles. And Overwatch was a different game, probably a year, 2 ago, where you could have these individual players that have pop-off performances and can carry you, aka Carpe. But the game is just not the same anymore. The game is a lot more teamwork orientated than it has been previously.
But isn't that just the meta as well? Like we happen to have a meta this year that was very brawly. Yeah. There wasn't that much opportunity for individual pop-off. It's possible that next year we might go into a meta where there's like a lot of Widow, a lot of Tracer, a lot of Genji, and suddenly Decay looks like a god.
Shit, yeah.
But I think a lot of it is meta dependent.
But you can also go far as a team, putting those resources elsewhere. Like imagine if they, I don't know, they don't pick up DK, they get a reasonable tank line as well.
Well, what's this team's records for the whole season without Decay? I think they're probably around the same spot.
You think so?
Where did you see him really make like a? I mean, he was a good Zarya player.
Yeah, he was a good Zarya player. He pulled out the Genji every now and then. He was reasonable.
How much worse would they be?
Probably a lot worse. I mean,
I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 wins worse or losses.
Decay definitely got them to the point where they're at now. But when you pick up a player like that with so much hype behind them, you expect them to carry you far. You expect to be making it further into the playoffs.
Right. I mean, they kind of were the same team they were last year. I mean, I think if they don't have Decay, maybe they're a 15-win team instead of a 17-win team or a 14-win.
It's just speculation at this point.
Yeah, I mean, okay, let's put it this way. I think they'll be a play-in team.
Same issues as Shock last year, where they picked up Sinatra, and a lot of people had so many expectations for Sinatra, all the hype around him. Again, the whatever it was, reported numbers of being 150k. Everyone expected him to really pop off and have this ridiculous performance and carry Shock. But I think Shock proved more than any other team that you need framework in place to really facilitate that talent. And you also need other people to carry the weight. You can't just have an individual. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Hey, I'm for that, Bren.
But I thought the Gladiators had a good infrastructure, but I guess it just didn't really matter.
It's reasonably good. Like they
did better than a lot of other teams.
Yeah, they were like the 5th place team all year.
Yeah, I mean, they placed exactly where they were in the standings. Let's talk NYXL Titans. This one goes to 7.
What a game.
So good.
So good. Kind of ruined, not really ruined, but kind of little asterisks depending on what happened on Sunday, with the Shock NYXL game, but it was still a really sick game though. I mean, NYXL, I feel like whoever lost this series kind of knew what was going to happen on Sunday.
I don't think so. Well, maybe. Really? I don't know. Here's the thing. We're starting to get into like the obvious question is New York took 3. New York took Vancouver to 7, then got shit slammed by the San Francisco Shock. So clearly through transitive property, the Shock obliterate the final. Like that is the clear and obvious logical conclusion. But having talked to a bunch of the teams about
that logical?
Results well, no, but I mean that's the like.
That's what people are going to be looking at.
That's what people are going to assume. But I don't think that's
not logical.
Everyone I spoke to, even people who are working in the league, are like, I really hope it's not going to be a 4-0. It's not going to be a 4-0.
No,
I don't think that the Shock.
No, there is a world in which it's
there
is
a world in
I
which
don't think it's likely.
Yeah.
I don't think it's likely.
But now we're starting to get into finals preview.
Yeah, no. So just with this game, New York.
This was such a fantastic match.
I was happy New York kind of came to play in a big scenario. Like I thought there was a scenario where Vancouver was just going to kind of roll over them. And dear God, if anyone from New York watches this, just play Sabiel V. Like, oh my God, that guy makes such an impact for this team. Like, I don't even care if like his stats aren't incredible. Like you can just tell the vibes when they're on stage is just so much better with him up there.
Yeah, this was such an amazing series to just watch from so many different perspectives. Like it played out roughly how I thought it would, but New York exceeded my expectations as well. Because on the day I was split with my prediction. I didn't really know where to go.
You debated yourself.
I debated myself on it.
It was pretty good.
It was really good.
But I always had in my mind that the Titans were the better neutral team. So they were going to be winning on the control maps. I thought that they look cleaner. Haxel can carry in some scenarios. Control maps are pretty close.
By the way, they are still undefeated on control maps.
They're still undefeated.
In the postseason, they haven't
postseason?
lost a control map.
Yeah.
In the postseason,
That's absurd. That's crazy.
Which means they've never picked a hybrid map.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Oh my word. Yeah, but I loved as well the style that we saw from New York, where they were playing these mind games, where they were forcing Titans. They'd roll them with the Bastion comp on the initial attack, and if it went to overtime, they would do a little bit of scouting. They'd see that they had forced Haxel over to like the May or something. It's just because Titans knew they were going to get rolled if they ran the Reaper Doomfist, and then they could just like, okay, well we're gonna play the Reaper Doomfist ourselves, and we're gonna ruin them in the neutral fight because May can't deal that consistent damage, right? I love the mind games that New York were playing.
You feel so hopeless as a defense against that. We're just like, here they come with the Bastion comp.
Yeah.
Point B, let's go. It's just
Shock showcased.
Shock destroyed those comps. Actually, that was
the
Nubis, biggest.
But...
they did a couple of times though, and actually New York were pretty good at dealing with it. Anyway, we'll get to that in the lower bracket final, but the upper bracket final and the lower bracket final was so different in terms of scoreline for me, because of those changes that Shock made to counter the Bastion. Vancouver was still a little bit shaky, like they just had to give up Temple of Anubis because of these Bastion mind games. And pretty much the same on Numbani.
Do we want to talk just New York big picture? Because they end up losing to the Shock. We all know that's a 4-0. What do you think they need to do going into next season? I figure we just talk about it now. We're not talking about the finals, so maybe just talk about how New York ended up.
Basically, before you. Okay, never mind. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, I was going to suggest to you guys that during the off season, I think we should do a weekly Plat Chat talking about the team. We select one team for every week, and then we talk about 2020. We can do this now and then do it for New York Excelsior in like 2 months.
We've actually already had. We've talked about that.
Yeah, I told you that before.
Yeah.
What
New
changes
York...
do you make with New York? Because
they
had an incredibly good showing, but it was always pretty iffy. And we always were commenting on how they were in the weaker divisions, so that's why they look stronger and whatnot. But the one thing that is highlighted is that I think you keep Sabiobi for one.
Yeah.
You build around that guy as an individual. I thought the tank line was always consistently good with Mano and Meko, rarely made any mistakes. The support line has always been quite stellar. But the biggest thing for me as well is this proves as well that the coaching staff of New York, and it's not just Pavane, it is more individuals than just that, but I'm not familiar with it, unfortunately, because I haven't done my research. But I think that this showcased that they do have the chops to lead this team to wins in the playoffs. This was the biggest test. This team going far in playoffs was the biggest showcase right now.
Here's the thing, though. I think I come to a different conclusion when I look at this. You definitely need Sabiobi, but the fact that you need Sabiobi, like you actually just totally and utterly crumble when he's not in, means to me that probably the coaching staff hasn't done a really good job of making sure that other people on the team can pick up any of that slack, can just maintain a positive atmosphere or have the reason that most people talk about experience is because with more time on stage, you are supposed to be more resilient in those big moments. The rest of that team doesn't appear to have that.
How do you coach that?
Well, that's the part of the way that the Titans, the Shock, have been coaching players is, for example, what they've been doing with Flower. They said they've put a lot of resources into Flower this year to try and make sure that he doesn't mentally crumble when he gets onto the stage, building up his confidence, making sure that he's thoroughly prepared, talking to him about why he gets anxious in certain situations, almost kind of lifestyle coaching outside of it.
I think you can do work in building players up like that, but some players have just got it. Some players are just natural leaders. They just have the authority when they step into a team. And I've spoken to players as well who have been thrusted into a team environment and they've been expected to be the leader because they're either very vocal or they've got great experience. And sometimes they're just thrusted into an environment and they haven't built up the respect of their fellow players who have been in the team longer.
Do you guys think we didn't realize that this could have been an issue last year? Because they played Sabiobi all of last year. But I feel like when you looked at them for most of last year, their secondary guy, who I always kind of thought was like a leader, was Arc. And then they take him out and they put in Animo, which Animo is a better Lucio player. I think it made a lot of sense. but he didn't really strike me as the leader that Arc was. Like Arc, like very vocal, doing like all the interviews every time like you need to talk about for the team. It was Arc. It was either Arc or Sabiel B, but you always had one of them in, right? You had Sabiel B in with Animo towards the end, and then we didn't see Sabiel B at the beginning. Obviously, they don't have Arc anymore, and then that's when I feel like they kind of struggled in terms of leadership, because you had Libero, who seems like a pretty quiet guy, Nene, who's coming in from
and he's a pretty quiet
right
guy
up,
as well.
yeah, quiet. Like you didn't have like a big leader on this team.
I mean, it's also a bit they were struck by the GOATs meta as well. I feel like going into the season, everyone predicted New York Excelsior as the champions because that made the most sense. It was not because you thought that they were going to go through some development through the season and like undergo some big change and become the champions. Like they were the stacked roster going into this season, but they weren't a good GOATs team to kick things off. Well, they were actually good. They went 7-1.
They were fine. Yeah, they were
but
fine.
They didn't have the chops in the stage playoffs, and I think that kind of like limited them all year. And I feel like then they got mentally boomed, and they had to go through so much like mental stuff this year.
Yeah, I think it's all mental with this team.
Yeah.
Like, I think the thing is, when we were talking before about them not being a stacked roster, I don't think they are the best roster in the league anymore. I think they were last year, but it's very hard, I think, to say that this year around. But they're at the level where if they hit the right meta and they figure out their mental, they could win championships.
Yes.
Like you actually don't have to change this roster for them to be able to win. You just have to kind of look into.
Would you add another? Are you all in on Flower as like one of their damage dealers for the future? Would you try and add the same vein as Libero? Like,
I feel like they've put so much resources and time into Flower for so long that I'm like, yo, we want to see the payoff. You know, where's the payoff?
Yeah.
If this was any physical sports, like if this was basketball, football, whatever, you're like, yo, this guy was the equivalent of a #1 draft pick. And it's been like 2 or 3 years. Like, when is he going to pop off?
Well,
like,
yeah, I mean, I guess you'd compare it as like, this year's his rookie year, right? Like a lot of rookies in sports.
No, this is not his rookie year. No, he's been around since like late 2016. And he's always been hyped up. People hyped him up more than Haxal. Like, he was supposed to be the new DPS god.
But
and
that was all bullshit from World Cup.
Yeah,
people said he wasn't even that great in contenders. And they were like, he needs better environment, a better team around him. Going to this year, okay, mental was a bit off. Okay, let's look to 2020. But 2020, I think that's the, live or die kind of year for him as a player. Otherwise, I'm over it.
Their time with him. They're just taking their time bringing him along, it seems like.
I'm just saying, if this was any other sport, people would be a lot less patient with someone like Flower to develop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally agree. And also, I mean, there are so many other players that have been able to come into the league and have huge impact without the...
Straight away.
Without taking all of that time and without taking the resources. I think New York will stick with him because they've put so much time into it and they can see his position on the roster.
He's part of the team now.
And then,
I mean, pound for pound, would he be the best pick? No.
And then I think if we want to recap, I guess, Hangzhou and their roster going into the offseason, I think this team, I like the tanks for this team. I like the supports for this team. It's almost like I just want to see, like, I think Godsby had his like ups and downs in terms of damage dealing throughout the year.
Yeah.
I think he's a player you keep. I don't know what the answer is. I thought Crystal, like when he was in, was like really good, but obviously they can't keep him here. He's just kind of wandering off. Who the fuck knows what's going on there? But I think maybe another damage dealer for Hangzhou, and I think they're in a good spot to make another run.
Just real quick, I'm looking over our predictions at the start of the year. And I want what Doe was smoking. Whoa,
where'd you find our predictions?
Yeah, you released an article
right here, man.
Start of the year, you had an article. Yeah,
we had an article. We all put in our predictions, bro. A lot of us very high on London, understandably.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Everyone predicted New York Excelsior to win because it made the most sense at the time.
New York or London, which was the main one.
Yeah. Bren had London.
I had London.
New York.
I assumed that they were going to fix their...
Mitch called Spark in playoffs.
Yeah.
I had 3 of the final 4, correct?
I only had 2.
I didn't have Vancouver in there.
Yeah, the only team I didn't have was Vancouver. I had London, New York, Shock, and Hangzhou.
My top 4 was Excelsior, Gladiators, Hangzhou, and London, I think.
Josh Sideshow Wilkinson had London, New York, the Philly Fusion.
I had Philly as well. I had Philly.
Yeah.
This guy had Badosian as the
no,
MVP, dude. What?
There was a
Badosian
one-off
MVP,
playoff run, dude.
what?
Well, at the time we
Certainly
didn't know
seems
that.
like
At the time, I think my argument at the time was if they fix their consistency problems, they look like a scary roster, right? Which spoiler.
Well, if there's anything I've learned in esports, fixing consistency issues.
Yeah.
Don't rely on it. It's
non-existent. Non-existent.
Can't predict it.
Did anyone
But yeah, I mean, London have won, or like the core of London, Profit and Gesture. This is the first tournament they've ever not won.
I got 3 right. I got 3 right, and then your other 3 righter is Christopher Puckett.
There you go.
Actually, no, Puckett actually Puckett fucked it up. He only got 2.
None of us are gonna get the champion right, though.
No, none of us are gonna get
None
the
of us
champion
predicted
right,
that.
Yep.
Feels
I didn't even have
There you
Vancouver in my top 4.
I didn't either.
Yeah. So.
Bro, Runaway's not an our level team, you know. As fanboy triggering as that sounds,
it's
just not that good.
I remember the story, like when they first got into the league, people were like, "Oh, how are they going to adapt to the US? Will they be able to get used to the food, living in America? It will be a big hurdle." And then they were like, "Let's go like 20-0 start of season."
I think though they did an amazing job at being able to deal with that. Like that's a real thing.
Yeah, Harsha.
A lot of yeah.
Before we go, who would you guys give the MVP of the postseason? We do an MVP for the finals, not really the postseason, but
it has to be Sinatra.
So
right?
like up till this point.
Yeah, up until this point, who would you say is the MVP of the postseason?
Haxel.
I think Haxel or Sinatra.
All right, this might be a wild one.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
What about?
Yo, you found some of the Doa Skittles.
I found some of that Doa juice.
I can make an argument I can make an argument for Tizzy, dude.
What?
Yeah.
No, that's like no.
Yeah.
You stole my Doa juice.
Is that your Doa juice?
You're both sipping at the same Doa
that's not who I was going for, Tizzy. But he like stole the Doa juice and then snorted it instead of drinking it.
I snorted the Doa juice.
What do you mean?
I was going to say Sabiobi, because even though New York didn't make the finals, I think there's no other player that's been so pivotal to a run from any of the teams than Sabiobi. I feel like that's my slightly out there pick. If we're not talking about the finals, we're just talking about the postseason.
Well,
in my opinion, it would really be Haxal, I think.
Yeah, I think Haxal.
Yeah.
I mean, no one mentioning Sinatra.
I mean, Sinatra would be my other choice.
Haxal or Sinatra, yeah. I mean,
Haxal
either
or
one.
Sinatra. We need to talk about the Hangzhou Spark here as well. We kind of just brushed over them.
Go on then.
Yeah. I think this team needs to give them credit for this. They've worked out their language issues, something that plagued the Shanghai Dragons and was probably a big reason as to why they went 0-40 last year.
Yeah.
They fixed it up. They made a Mandarin-speaking main tank work with a mainly Korean roster. Gushui seemed to have a very good level of play when they finally got him running.
Yeah.
I remember who the bloody hell did they have?
Nose Smite, dude.
Nose Smite.
Nosemity.
Nosemity. Nose Smite. I remember when stage 1 we were reviewing that guy's gameplay.
Oh my god!
It looked like he was speaking Mandarin. To be fair, oh morally. But this team has really, really done well. I think for an expansion team, with not many of us predicted them to go this far.
I think you keep the tank line, you keep the supports, and you figure out what you want to do with the damage dealers. I mean,
IDK is a nut.
Yeah.
IDK and Baby are both really good. I mean, this is a team where if they got a really strong Winston meta, like you didn't even really like Gushui played really well throughout the season. You didn't even see him on his best hero.
This team was put together in the offseason when people were playing like Tracer, Doomfist, and all that. Like when we were in Thailand for the World Cup, we scrimmed these guys as they were like as a team. So this was not put together to be good in goats, and so understandably, they had to adapt to goats their own way. But we were scrimming them in a Winston Tracer meta, and they were nutty. They were good. Okay, so this was always a team that had to adapt to the new meta and stuff.
This is a team that a slightly different meta at the end, like they could be a finals team. Like I think Gushui's Winston is like the Gushui's Winston.
You
like
can say that about a lot of teams.
Yeah,
maybe.
You said that about New York as well, but
yeah, you can say it honestly about Guangzhou as well if they find themselves into a widow meta.
Yeah.
Spark are very good. I think this season they relied on countering other teams and like really making sure that they played a smart game.
Yeah.
I think they lack quite a lot of firepower for being able to play like a very like aggressive dominating style, mostly because their DPS are like pretty good. You know, like Bazzi's an outrageous Widowmaker. Apart from that, he actually performed pretty well on Doomfist, but it was like,
you know what I want? Yo, I love my boy Gesture. Yo, give me a Prophet Tracer and Gushue Winston, please. I don't know how you make that deal happen. Yo, give me that. Pump that shit into my veins, bro. You want to replace
Gushue with Gesture?
I want Prophet on Hangzhou with IDK and Bebe and
I wouldn't even say Prophet. I just say take whichever one you like from Shock.
Give me Striker, dude. I'm okay with that.
Striker
Gushue would be cracked, bro.
They'd be fucking diving people in goats.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck. Give me Carpe on Hangzhou. Give me Carpe, dude.
2018 meta was so good.
Yeah, it was.
There's gonna be so much juice about people swapping
so
teams.
Good. Yeah, it's gonna be so good, and we'll be reporting it.
We'll be here.
Like literally the last day, like after the lower bracket final, there was already so much juice swirling around.
Oh yeah,
the hot tub was starting to bubble already.
It was cooking up some bodies. I'll let you know. I'll tell you.
When you guys come to New York, I actually have a hot tub.
Oh, so do I.
Should do a hot tub stream.
Wait, you have a hot tub?
Sideshow? Oh, wait, I thought you meant you have something to say in the hot tub. I don't. No, I don't have a hot.
I'm saying we actually have a physical hot tub. We should do a hot tub stream.
We should do a hot tub recorded part and then play it while we do our live show.
Boom.
There you go.
And then we're like, right now to Bren in the hot tub.
We need a hot tub graphic, yeah.
Final thoughts. I really want to just really hammer home for everyone listening and watching how big of a deal Shock making it to the finals is. From the first round of the lower bracket.
I thought you were going to say something about September.
Dude. I thought you were going to say September too, dude.
Yeah.
Hammer home September.
Everyone sub. No,
Yo, be quick. I got a haircut. You go on these fucking monos.
I'm going to be quick. Because I think people are still really just not realizing how big of a deal and how rare of an occurrence this will probably be in the next couple of years. Assuming we run with the same format for the playoffs from now until the Overwatch League eventually withers into dust in the year 3005. This is so insanely hard to pull off. Not only dominating in a lower bracket, but just performing well. A lot of people have been saying like, oh, it's not that impressive. Like I don't know why they say it's not impressive. You're literally playing in a lower bracket run. One loss will kick you out of the tournament, and you have way less time to adapt for your opponents, and you have to play more matches. Like it's like there's obstacles at every twist and turn. This is one of the most impressive runs I've ever seen from a team in esports history. Not even just Overwatch League. In all of esports that I've watched, I'll give you some numbers actually in Dota 2 because I know them.
Oh, here we go.
9 TIs. There's been 9 TIs. Dota 2 has a very similar schedule. There was only one time where they didn't run it. I think it was TI4. They didn't run the same upper bracket, lower bracket kind of system. Obviously, there's a couple of key differences with Dota. They play a lot of matches back to back, whereas in Overwatch League, we have a week break in between a couple of them. The point still remains, though, they play almost the exact same format, and teams have to go through a lower bracket. There's only been 2 times where a team has made a run from the middle of the lower bracket to the finals and won at TI2 and TI7. The closest the team has come to doing it was this year at TI, where Liquid went into the first round of the lower bracket and went all the way to the finals, and then they lost. For a team to go from the first round of the lower bracket and make it all the way to the finals is almost unheard of in almost every esports ever. It's such a massive deal, and people just are brushing over it like it's nothing. I don't think we'll see something like this for quite some time.
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
Right,
I wanted to let Bren have his moment. I didn't want
to. What?
You can plug September.
Yo,
go get your haircut.
Half price subs, dude. Subs for haircuts.
No, now the mood went down. You can't do
that. Bren, do you want to talk about the bracket format for the gauntlet?
No.